Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And hello, Thanya. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am doing better than the people in Texas. Hoping for the best for them. It is cold, and we are spoiled here in Southern California, Thanya.
We are spoiled. My sister's in Texas.
Oh, what part?
Yeah. San Antonio.
Dude, they have snow in San Antonio. I think they've had snow there before, correct?
Snow. She says it's freezing cold though right now.
Yeah.
Super cold. So.
Dude, it's crazy. And then the the dude took off. Ted Cruz took off to Cancun.
He's gone. He doesn't care. He knows what's good. He went to Mexico.
People are pissed at the guy, and I'm not defending him. But dude, if I could take off to Cancun and not stay in the snow, I'd take my ass to Cancun.
My sister was trying to leave to Merida, but they canceled her flight. So it's like, if you have the money, you're gonna leave. So.
You're gonna leave, exactly. And we have a special guest with us today. We have the very spiritual and talented
Michael.
Michael, what's your last name?
Espinoza.
Michael Espinoza. And dude, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
it's
you.
so exciting to be here.
You are a super interesting person.
Oh, thank you.
And I just met you, but immediately, like, you have this aura about you, like you're just, like I picture you getting up in the morning and you don't even get out of bed. You just levitate. You just levitate off the mattress. You're just floating.
Exactly. Yeah. I snap my fingers and I'm dressed. The angels dressed me.
The angels
showered,
dressed me.
Shaved, and teeth brushed.
There you go.
And
Michael, get my shoes.
There you go.
Gabrielle, the other pants.
Exactly.
Which one makes breakfast?
That's
I don't
Uriel.
even eat. I eat air.
Oh, you eat air. Nice.
Oh, that's how I keep my figure.
There you go.
He actually feeds other souls. He doesn't need anything.
Exactly.
His cup runneth over.
I've been to your house. That is true. There's a good vibe in your house. I attribute it to Rita, but also you.
Oh,
Rita's his
thank you.
mom.
Oh,
But,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you I know we're kind of exaggerating here, but you are a super, and I don't know that the right word is spiritual. Is that correct? Or
Yeah. You
Yeah?
can say spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between spiritual and religious.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm no longer religious.
But you
Yeah.
were.
I was.
What
I grew up Catholic,
as
many of us have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was probably Catholic till about my 20s.
Okay.
And then it wasn't enough for me. So then I started looking into Foursquare churches.
what is
What's
that?
a Foursquare church?
A Foursquare church is a Pentecostal, charismatic, very conservative church where they spoke in tongues.
Satarakata
Oh my
Shanda,
gosh,
baby.
there's your guys'
That's
connection
right.
with the speaking in the tongue.
Yes.
De la Basilia
Yes,
Kandai.
Jesus.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
was it here or was it when you were in the East Coast?
No, that was here.
That was here?
That
Okay.
was here.
Okay.
Yeah. And it felt like I was closer and more connected to God. That's what I kept looking for. And I wasn't getting that through the Catholic Church because I just felt like too many rules and regulations.
Okay.
Yesterday was Ash Wednesday.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Stand up, kneel, sit down, stand up, kneel, say this.
Y que Dios te bendiga.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like, this is boring. I don't feel connected at all. And so that's why I was looking for something else, and I found that. And it was okay.
In your
until-
early 20s, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long did that chapter last?
That was for a while. That
Okay.
was many years.
Were you pretty deep?
And-
Were you involved in the church?
No, not completely, because being gay. So that was kind of a bad thing for me.
Okay.
Right. I wasn't connected to God enough because I was gay.
He didn't heal you?
No.
Jesus didn't take away your gayness? You were not
Well,
there
for a
long
while,
enough if
for a
Jesus did
while,
not take
for
it
a-
away.
For a while.
That is so detrimental, I think. And
Yes.
when people start preaching that, it makes me cringe. I grew up in the Catholic Church as well. And I did catechism. I did the whole. I thought I was going to hell at a very young age because I kept masturbating, even though they told me not to. And even with the prospect of hell in the horizon.
You still masturbated.
I still masturbated.
What hand did you use?
I think
Are we gonna cut it
obviously the
off?
right.
Is that why your fingers are crooked?
They are. I've double jointed.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Look
so
at that.
so yeah, they are very.
Don't get us into the San Lázaro speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. Yes.
But then I did find also a charismatic evangelical church by chance in my late teens, and it was the 1980s, and it was very there was this huge quote unquote revival in the country. It was during Reagan. And everybody, and the reason I asked you if you went deep is I used to go to Bible study almost 5 days a week.
Wow.
I was in a different Bible study. I was in a different this and a different that.
How old were you?
In my late teens, early 20s.
Wow.
And I mean, I was, had a beautiful girlfriend. We'd make out, and she was hardcore as well. I was hardcore. We'd start making out. I'd get a hard on. We'd rub against each other, and then we'd stop, and we'd pray for Jesus to take away our horniness.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding. Now I pray for Jesus to give me hard-ons and for the Viagra to kick in.
Just did a 360 in your life there, Martin.
Yes. Okay. And that's and because the shame of sex, not just if you're gay, but just sexuality
in general.
Period. And that's why I said it's so to tell you to go against your natural instincts. Is to say no, that is bad, and for you to believe it in your head, like, oh, you're sitting there crying and praying, like, I'm and then you go to the leaders, and then they say things like, well, the Bible says that if your right eye causes you to sin, you need to pluck it out because it's better to enter the kingdom of heaven with one eye than go to hell with both of them. And then you're sitting there like, oh, I got to chop off my dick now, and it's very damaging.
The religion of fear.
The religion of fear, correct. And but it took me a long time to get because I feel like you do get programmed. You do get and especially like if you grew up Catholic and they tell you constantly. My mom is 88, I think now, and she is she's 89, and she's got Alzheimer's, but she's still holds on to the religion, and I can,
it's indoctrinated into her.
It's indoctrinated into her, and I can ask her. I said, Mom, Diosito's always looking at you, right? God's always watching you. She goes, yeah, and He knows if you're good or bad. And that's, you've always been. My mom is like, she was a saint. Everybody thinks their mom's a saint, but my mom literally was a saint, and my grandmother instilled that fear into her that is still, even though the disease is as far as it is, my mother still holds on to her santos and her beliefs and her faith and all that. She could probably do the rosary without blinking an eye. She can hold a conversation, but all that stuff is deep
embedded in her psyche.
Yeah. And so now I'm sorry, I get sidetracked a little bit.
Okay.
Now
no,
I know
this is fascinating.
This is about you, and I'm making it about me.
Tangent.
And then when I was 30,
okay, so you go to the church in your 20s,
right?
Okay, then
and then the AIDS crisis happened, and I started hearing the crap of, this is just desserts, this is what happens. And then I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't want to listen to this shit. And that's when I just told God, I'm only going to follow you. I don't care what these people say. And so I'll find a church. So I take what I need, and then the rest of it I just leave behind. So I did that, and it was okay. I mean, I still felt connected, but at that time, I didn't feel too spiritual or religious at that time. It was just a crazy time. That was a period of, many years, but all my friends died from 1984 to 1986. 2 years.
That's horrible.
It was horrible. Fast forward, I moved to New York City. I went to college. Got my master's degree in art, and then somebody offered me a job in New York City working at Donna Karen.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'll take it.
Girl, that's for
I'm
me.
there. And they transferred me and relocated me to New York, and I just had a great time. Little did I know that's when Spirit had a plan for me, and it was to heal me in New York, and that's when I found pranic healing, or it found me. Yeah.
Wow.
So how did you find it?
Hold on one second. Hold that thought. I can't even imagine. You said something that was extremely disturbing, which is that the AIDS epidemic broke, and the shit that was being spread with saying that this was a curse from God for the sinful nature of certain communities, you know. It's the same thing that's going on right now. When the pandemic first started, there was a ton of preachers on television, not just television, but in their congregations, saying that this was a curse on the United States. This is why we had been affected so hard, because we have allowed a same-sex marriage. We've done lawlessness. We've done, there's a lot of witchcraft going on here.
There goes me.
And so this is God pretty much imposing this
thinning out the herd or what?
Punishment on us to help us turn from our sinful ways. And they were using scripture to back this up. And people were sitting there like, yes, this is right. We need to turn from our... And again, it goes back to that fear. And so I'm listening to it now. I can't imagine what it would have been like back then. That's enough to make you say, yeah, let me get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
It was infuriating. I was so angry. I mean, number one, you're angry because you're going through this. You're angry because you're not getting help. And now we're being demonized again, right? And now this is punishment from God. And that's when it was just kind of like the middle finger to all of you. Out of here. Fuck all of you.
That's fair. Yeah. That's beyond fair. And so now you said something also. You said that's when Spirit came to you.
Well, I didn't know then.
Okay, but I mean, just the fact that you say Spirit came to me, that just sounds so. And again, I didn't want to cut you off, but that's like there's so much there to just break down, because like there's somebody might be listening. What do you mean Spirit came? Like, did he show up? Did he knock on your door?
Spirit,
yo, Mike, what's up?
No, it was just, at that time I was still like praying to God and to Jesus. That was Spirit to me at that time. That's how I still saw Spirit. And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to pay attention to all this bullshit. This extraneous noise. I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah. And so when I moved out there, I was still looking for churches, and I found open churches that were accepting of gay people. So I was going to those, but still not feeling connected enough to God and to Spirit. And then I found pranic healing because I was also in therapy at that time as well. I did a lot of therapy, a lot of years of therapy to help me with a lot of stuff. And especially the AIDS crisis. I mean, that was just so traumatic. And so anyway, that's when... How did that happen? Oh, so I was unemployed. I got unemployed. I was laid off. I was working at Michael Kors at the time, and I was an assistant to 2 presidents. I was so stressed out at the time. And a friend of mine who was still living here got unemployed as well. She was laid off at the same time. And she called me up. She said, I went to this healer. And oh my God, it's amazing. It's true. It helped me. You have to go. Go see a healer. And I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? And at the time, we had very similar beliefs, or religious beliefs. And so I was like, all right. Well, I was unemployed, and I was like, okay, well, why not? So I did some research, and I Googled her healer. And she had this big laundry list of things she did, and pranic healing kind of jumped off and grabbed my attention. So I Googled more about pranic healing, and unbeknownst to me, there was a center near my home. So unlike me, I just signed up and took a class, because usually it takes me a while to warm up to something first and then engage with it. But I just took the class, and I was fascinated and kind of scared of it at the same time.
I'd never even heard the term pranic healer until right now.
Right. I've never heard it either.
Yeah, no.
What is it in like the simplest terms? What is it?
Pranic healing comes from the Sanskrit word prana, which means energy. So what it is energy healing. Okay. So everything's energy, right? And so what we deal with is the energy that's in the body. So the body is a self-healing organism. You cut yourself, it closes up and it heals, right? Mm-hmm. So what we do is remove negative, diseased, dirty energies that are stuck in the chakras, which are energy centers in the body. And we remove all that, and we replace the energy so that the body can heal itself at a faster rate.
This sounds very similar to Reiki.
Yeah. Yes, it is. The difference with Reiki and pranic healing, I don't know exactly what Reiki does. I've never studied it, but I know they put energy into the body.
They heal with energy as well.
Right. Yeah. And pranic healing, we remove energy, the diseased, dirty, stuck energy, and then we replace the energy. Yeah.
I think that's what Reiki, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that that's what it does. It heals the DNA that we're programmed with in our selves, that comes from the damage that happened throughout the lineage of our ancestry, and so all that gets carried and passed on to us, and through the Reiki, you heal that damage, those damage.
But I think the
chingaderas.
Not to cut you off, but I think the biggest difference is your focus is removal of.
It's both.
Okay,
it's removal
both? Okay.
and replacing the energy.
And do you use the chakras to remove and replace, or can you like focus on, like if my elbow hurts, you're just going to focus on? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we do. Okay. So if, say your shoulder hurts, we focus on the shoulder, but also we have a small chakra in the armpit. So we focus on the little chakras, what we call the minor chakras.
Oh, so there's different, it's not just the ones that are through the middle.
Right. The 11 chakras in pranic healing, they teach 11 chakras in the major 11 chakras in the body. But then there's all the minor chakras. There's, tons of, there's a lot of them.
What does chakra mean?
Yeah, it's amazing.
What is chakra? What is the definition of a chakra?
Chakra is a Sanskrit word for spinning wheel, is what it means.
Spinning wheel.
Oh, because it's like the spinning wheel of energy, right, within you.
Yeah.
It makes energy.
So they basically, they take in energy and then they expel energy. They like breathe, essentially, right? I know a lot of modalities teach they spin one way, and if they're clogged, they spin the other way. Master Chwakoksui, my teacher, taught us differently. He slowed the chakras down to see what was happening, and they spin back and forth. And so they spin rapidly, and when they go one way, the energy goes out, and when they spin the opposite way, the energy goes back in. So they're constantly like breathing.
Oh,
they're
wow.
taking in
It's
energy, expelling and taking in energy.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so we feel for congestion and we remove it.
Now, before you had I don't know if the proper word is a treatment or a healing, you went straight to take classes on this?
Yes.
You didn't say, let me experience this. You said,
Exactly.
let me go learn about it first.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's when I was like blown away. It was like, holy crap. What is that? I can feel it. I can feel it. I was like blown away. And then, all the programming from religion kicked in. This is witchcraft. This is
wow.
demonic. You're going into...
Because you're still going to church at this time, right?
Yeah.
You're taking the class and going to church.
Right.
Oh, that's like a contradiction.
Yeah.
Kind of, right? To
Yeah.
most people. It's not because it's spiritual. It's all spiritual. But like it's so different.
Yeah.
Like organized religion too.
Yeah. It really scared me. And, but thank God I had an angel in my midst. And it was my therapist who, unbeknownst to me, I'd been seeing her already about 10 years, this older lady. And I just thought I had to talk about my problems, right? The issues that while I was there. And I finally told her one day, I was like, I have to talk about something else. And she's like, okay, well, what is it? And I was telling her about pranic healing. I was learning it. And it was bothering me because I thought I was involved in witchcraft and I didn't know, but all the crazy thoughts in my head. And she just said, well, let's examine this. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. So we, broke it all down play by play. And she's like, well, I've never didn't hear Satan in there. I didn't hear any, conjuring of evil spirits to come. She's like, it would be safe to say, I think you're okay. And she's like, and I'm telling you this because I'm a pastor also of a Baptist church.
Wow.
And I was just like, my head just exploded.
She
and
totally
it was like,
validated that you were okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it made it safe for me. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can do it. I got the seal of approval of her.
Mm-hmm. So that was how long ago did you do your first class?
2004.
Wow.
Yeah. And so while I was unemployed, I took, I think, 3 or 4 classes in succession right away. I was just like devouring all this information. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just blew me away.
Now, how long before you actually went and got a healing for yourself?
Oh, the same day when you do take a class.
Okay.
You also learn, and then you practice on each other. The students practice on each other. So you're learning, and then you're...
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on.
Are these classes available here on the West Coast?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And we have a center here. There's 2 centers in the United States. Back east, it's in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And out here, it's in Chino Hills.
Chino Hills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's right.
But,
it's so close.
Yeah. But it's not... You don't go there because Southern California is so big. Mm-hmm. And actually, Master Ko, who runs a center here, he has the majority of the United States under his territory. So there's pranic healers all over, and they teach. So you just kind of go wherever.
So like you're a pranic healer. So do people go and learn under you?
No, I'm not teaching yet.
You're not teaching
I'm
yet?
on the road to learn how to teach.
So it takes a long time because it's 16 plus years that you've been in it, and you're
17.
17. Mm-hmm. So then usually if I were to go and find a healer to teach me, like they would be in it for years and years and years, right?
Right.
Like a lot.
Well, what it is Master Choa saw in Reiki that the teachings started to become distorted. So now there's like 22 forms of Reiki.
There is.
I am a master. I'm a Reiki master.
You are.
On paper.
Yeah.
And
good.
That's why it's so. But that's the teachings have become very distorted. So.
Right. And so they're not exactly as to what Master Usui put out there. Mm-hmm. And so Master Choa did not want that to happen with his teachings. They needed to stay intact. You could not change any of the information that is given. So everything is controlled from his office in Manila.
So that means everyone practices the same. It's not going to vary.
Exactly.
It's like a Big Mac at McDonald's. It doesn't matter where you order
You're
it.
You're going to
get the same
freaking Big Mac.
So,
I mean, there are some slight variations, but nothing major.
Mm-hmm. So this is like super interesting to me because I'm a santera. Mm-hmm. So we think that there's certain santeras who are going to teach the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. There's certain santeras who are made to practice. Mm-hmm. So maybe you're a santera who can cleanse people and heal people. Mm-hmm. And then you're completely apart from the ones that are here to teach. Mm-hmm. But so that means that everybody who would study under the master could eventually be a teacher as well as a healer. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of Master Choa's things, he was a scientist and a chemical engineer. And so one of his things was, this does not to be mysterious and shrouded in mysticism and all this, and it does not need to be difficult. And so what his big thing was, let me just dilute this and make it simple. Anybody can learn this. His goal was to have one pranic healer in each family. And so you go through the steps, you take all your classes, and then you can sign up to become a teacher.
How old is this thing? This art,
the healing modality. I think. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this.
No, it's okay.
You could guesstimate.
It's probably about 30 years old.
Oh, it's
not
new.
that. It's
new.
fairly new.
It's
yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like ancient.
No.
Anytime I hear the word Sanskrit, I'm like thinking, oh, this is like
the teachings are ancient.
Okay.
But he's kind of put
the
everything
modality
together.
of how he does it,
Right.
how he's teaching is 30 years.
Yeah.
So how does that lead
on? So you've been in there over half the time.
Maybe.
You got there in kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
Kind of, right?
No. There's
like the middle?
No, like the masters who now run the centers, there's only 7 masters in the world right now. And that's studied directly under Master Choa. So, and it takes a while to become a master. Like you just don't finish a class and, oh, here you go. Here's your certificate.
Is that like a Reiki certificate?
No. Well, you get them, but they come through Manila. But these are years of, you have to take all these courses, and then you have to practice, and then you have to teach, and then move up the teaching levels. So you teach basic, then advanced, then psychotherapy, and then there's all these different levels. So you teach all that, and then you have to become an arhatic yogi.
Who now?
Arhatic yogi.
What is that?
It's arhatic yoga, and it's a spiritual practice.
Okay.
So they're meditations that we do.
Okay. Is that like Kundalini almost, or?
Yeah, Kundalini is involved in it. Yeah, that's part of it. So it's to raise our level of consciousness and also have a deeper and closer to connection with God.
So your whole purpose is to raise your vibration closer to
God.
To God.
Mm-hmm.
So then that means in this practice, you guys believe in God like in a church, God in heaven, God like that, or is it's whatever you feel it is?
Right. It's not based in any religion.
Okay.
None of it.
Okay.
So what he's done, he's taken information from a lot of religions and he's put it together.
So how does that, because I know you on a personal level, right? So you actually did a healing on me once and it was good. I liked
Thank
it.
you.
And it was great actually. But how does that lead into you opening up like your spiritualism to like mediumship? Because I know you're a medium also. So did that help you? Was that like your foot in the door on that, or? I
attribute the arhatic yoga practice to opening the gifts even more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was doing healings on people. And the first time I saw somebody, I would see beings or actually feel them more in buildings. And I don't see them. I don't see the people. I feel them more. And, but I just thought everybody does, right?
That's funny. That's funny because I don't want to cut you off, but Martin and I have had discussions and I've told him I don't see anyone either. I can feel them and sometimes I know they're talking to me, but it's not in like English.
Right.
But I can translate it in my mind what they want me to say, right? So and the building thing I totally get. Yeah. But for people who don't get that, what do you mean about feeling things in buildings?
Well, you walk into a building and it just feels creepy and you just feel like you're not alone. There's somebody here. Or if you turn down a hallway and you're like, oh, okay, there's something here. Or you can actually feel them touch you or move through you. Yeah.
Do you, that's fascinating as
right?
everything. Now, chills, like when people get chills, what is that, or like.
That's them.
That's
Yeah.
the spirits.
Yeah.
Now,
And
or
their
like if you
energy.
like get like what do you call that one?
Escalofrío?
Escalofrío. I don't know how you say
What
that
does
in
that mean?
English.
Escalofrío is like, when you shiver, like when
oh,
you go
like a
but
shiver?
it's not cold,
Yeah,
but you
but it's
shiver.
not cold and you
Yeah.
just ugh, like that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. What is that?
Well,
the
that's
same thing?
that's I attribute to them. I mean, they're energy, right? We're all energy.
Okay, now when you say them, are we talking about people that
Spirits.
have passed on? Are we talking about
Yes, dead.
ancestors? Are we talking about
Yes.
dead people that we might
Yes.
not have even met in the real world?
Yes.
Talking about angels, saints, demons? Is it the same?
It's when I talk, it's more the ghost. So it's more of somebody who's died, that was a person on this earth and is no longer in their body. They haven't transitioned to the other side, and they're kind of stuck on the earth plane. Yeah,
And do some of these people stay here forever and ever?
some do. Yeah.
And when they transition, where do they? This is like a whole different language
I
to a
don't
lot of
know.
people.
It's
that are
another
listening.
show.
Right?
Yeah, like where you
Los
transition. Like,
espíritus.
Where do they transition? Where do you think they transition to? Because people think different things, right? Some people
Right.
think they go to heaven. Some people think they're reincarnated. Some
Hell.
people think they go to hell, which I don't believe in
Purgatory.
hell at all. I'm a person who doesn't believe in hell.
purgatory, baby.
I don't believe in purgatory. I think this is hell and purgatory right
If
here.
you pay,
We're
if
going
you
through
pay enough
everything
money,
here.
they'll do enough masses, and you get
And
out
you'll
of
get out.
purgatory, and you go to heaven, you monkey.
So I think I know about the masses. We do them in Santeria, but I don't believe in hell. Right? It's
Right.
something I don't even. My son did catechism like you. Right? He did all those things because it's a tradition.
Right.
He was like, I'm a santero. Why am I doing this? And he was like 8. So, but it's a tradition. So we traditionally do it. It's more for the tradition.
Right.
But as soon as he started hearing you're going to go to hell, I was like, there is no hell. Hell is where you are right now. You're figuring it out, right? You try to do things to raise your vibration, so I don't believe in hell. At the same token, I don't believe in heaven, like with the angels and the harps and
The clouds and the
we're
picnic.
here drinking modelos or whatever was your favorite, and I don't think that either. But I do think the energy does go different places. But where do you think that energy goes?
I believe there is, I don't even know how to explain this, a location somewhere, right? That they do transition to because we learn about our lifetime, this lifetime that we're living here. So the spirit leaves the body and it goes to wherever this place is.
The realm, another
right?
realm.
And we meet with guides and we understand what this life was for, what the lessons are supposed to be in this lifetime.
That's very similar to that book, Many Lives, Many Masters, like the masters and the guides. So that's kind of the same thing, right? Which is a great book. Have you read that book? You need to read that book. That's a great book.
It's really good. Brian Weiss.
Brian
He's
Weiss,
amazing.
Very good. So he says that you go to a room with the masters and the masters tell you these are the lessons that you have learned
Right.
or have not learned, and you're going to come back,
Right.
right? Suffer through them.
Right.
So-
So this is also too, my guides have showed me, it's almost like they're committees. And so like you go and you meet with one committee and then you talk to them and then you like go to this other location and you meet with another committee and you talk
Oh, I
with
got the
them about
chills.
stuff.
And then they dissect everything you've done on this realm.
Right. And it's not
Like
about,
you fucked up right here. Like,
well, yeah, but I mean, it's
Attaboy
not
right there.
harsh.
Attaboy. Good job.
It's not harsh. It's all done with love. And it's kind of like, okay, let's look at this. And I was like, yeah, this is not so good. Right. And so, before we come here, we sign a contract and we agree to this lifetime that we're living.
Because you pick it, right? You believe that we pick the life
Exactly.
that we're living. We believe that too.
Exactly.
We believe that you pick it. You picked your parents. Maybe your
Exactly.
parent. Okay, I have a great mom. Everyone knows. My dad is awesome too, but totally different than my mom. At times in my life, I've been like, how did this is crazy, right? Like my mom's so spiritual, my dad isn't. There's been a lot of disconnect because I'm spiritual. And then my mom will quickly remind me, you picked him.
see, that is so.
I have to learn something, right?
It's because how do you? It's hard for me to reconcile that with people who have piece of shit parents, who are whatever the case may be. They're a drug addict, and and they literally pimp out their son or daughter in order to get more drugs, and to tell that kid, you picked this, seems almost evil.
But we don't know where.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though?
totally. But you don't know so that's where like reincarnation comes into play, and what are the different lessons that you're learning?
I got
It's
raped.
harsh.
I got beat. I got my mom was on drugs. Little Mikey. You picked this.
We're sorry.
This was
We're
your
sorry
choice.
for everyone named Mikey.
You signed this contract, little Billy. Okay,
Do you
little
have
Tabitha. You signed this. I do. I have
So
one
is that
son.
what you tell them now?
Well, you picked this, cabrón. Do you see what I'm saying? That just seems so unfair.
Yeah. But I mean, life is unfair.
Life is unfair, right? Like
Life
it's not,
is unfair.
people
And then
think
somebody that's
because-
born with a silver spoon in their mouth, well, he picked, Tom
But-
Brady picked
But
all
look,
these.
they don't always have a peachy life either.
Yeah, just because you have
Just
money-
because you have money does not alleviate
I think that too.
the problems.
No, I get that. I'm just saying that the suffering that somebody, even if you're like live a life that's not wealthy, you still have a pretty like decent
life.
Yeah, decent life.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with finances, but just the struggles that some people go through from day one. Somebody that's born addicted to crack, for instance, somebody that's born addicted to meth. To say to them, you pick this path, to me sounds a bit harsh.
Well, nature's cruel, right? And if we were to be more into nature, so we are one of the only like species that will forcefully have somebody who is born with a disability, who is born missing limbs, we'll still want them to be born. We will still push that kid out. We will still do all these things. But in nature, they wouldn't be born, or they would be eaten because they don't want them to suffer. But because we're so nice, we'll have everybody be born, and then they suffer. So then it goes back to nature's cruel. Like nature is, I had a dog, traumatized me. They gave birth to puppies, right? A husky, where I was like Nick's age, like 12. She started drowning the dogs in the pool.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like freaking out. I came outside. I remember getting my mom, and I'm like, Mom, the dog. And she's like, relax. This is a lesson. Not everybody should be a mom. Do you see what happened? She wasn't ready to be a mom. That has stayed with me till now. And she laughs because I'll tell her, we'll see something, somebody will get a reading, and I'm like, oh, they're not good parents. And I'm like, the dog. And she's like, that was a lesson that never left you. I'm like, because in human nature is, no, we're going to be better than that, right? We're going to let you have your kid. And then you're going to fuck it up and abuse it and be a drug addict and whatever it is you're going to do. But we push those things out because we're so far from nature. Like we're so far from it, right? Like that's how I think. Because people always say that, like, oh, if there was a God, we wouldn't suffer. Suffering's part of the deal. Like it's part of the deal. You've suffered, not because you're spiritual. All your friends, everything that like what you said about your friends, that's like so hard. Like you lost all your friends. Like that's suffering.
That is suffering. And also
it's part of life.
Yeah.
If there's a God then and who's all good, then is there a yin and yang effect where there is an evil also, which is a Satan?
Well, I don't believe in God like that. I believe in an energy. So I think there's negative energy and there's positive energy. And depending on how you vibrate, you attract positive or you attract negative. That's how I think. What do you think?
I think there is evil in the world. I don't know if there is a Satan, but I think some people are pretty close to it sometimes.
They're right. They're like a stepmom. They're right there.
Yeah. And they can do some pretty horrible things.
Right. I mean, you think about somebody like The Night Stalker, that documentary
Right.
was just on Netflix with Richard Ramirez. I mean, this guy was, some people would say the devil incarnate.
Right.
I mean, the guy did some really evil shit.
I think his stuff was like psychological, right? I think all the devil stuff came because he had nowhere else to go with it. And it was just very
It was
like,
the 80s and it was popular as
yeah,
well.
I think he was very like glamorized for like, hail Satan and da-da-da and da-da-da, So I don't think he was like a devil worshiper. I've met people, they've chatted me who are devil worshipers. It's completely different than the Night Stalker, right? So it's like, I think it was trendy to be.
I think though, if you do worship Satan, I think it does attract a energy. So I don't know if it is maybe what we've done is personified, this energy. I don't know if it's a person or like an angel, as the Bible tells us. I mean, I've been to a house. I was cleansing a house, and as soon as I walked in, like, it was just so oppressive, the energy in the house. It was just unbelievable. And it was kind of like, how do you people live in here? Like, I can't. It was just so horror. It's just so awful, the energy in the place. Like, it was hard to breathe. Like, it just felt heavy
Like
and thick, but just awful, just really bad. And then I found out through the owners that they had a roommate in the house who was, they said, a Satan worshiper and was casting spells in the house.
Good
and
Lord.
It was like, holy mother of Jesus, what?
Well,
And there you are.
right, like,
It's a good energy.
LaVey, right, is the guy that wrote the Satanic
Anton LaVey.
Anton
LaVey.
LaVey, and so there's the LaVeyan Satanists, right, or whatever,
Right.
and these guys, they're like, we've been told that sex is evil, money is evil, pleasure is evil, and these are things that we like. So therefore, we embrace these things. So that makes us Satanists. If this is associated with Satan, and this is now, this is just, I've never been to a service, but I've known people that do practice and say that that's what they believe. Like, they are, it's their way of saying, no, well, we embrace this. We like this. This isn't, we've been told that the meek will inherit the earth. The blessed are the poor. Blessed are this. It's like, wait, that's bullshit. You know, and anything associated with, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven, because you're just evil if you're rich. We've been conditioned with those things, and these guys are like, fuck that. You know, I enjoy these things, and if that makes me a Satanist, then so be it.
I think that makes him an entrepreneur. Like, he was really smart.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
beyond
And now
smart.
one of his kids took over, because I was just reading something
The
on
daughter,
it.
I think.
The daughter took over his
Oh, really?
church. But it's not even, I don't think that wealth makes you evil. I don't.
No.
Just like poverty doesn't make you
Spiritual. Yeah.
It's not, I don't think that's it.
Well,
Right.
Master Cho always told us that it's silly to be poor.
It's silly to be poor.
Yeah, well, not that it's silly, but it was like that thought process of being poor makes you spiritual. And he's like, no.
No, but
That
that's, I mean, look at
having
Mother
more
Teresa.
money-
You know, Mother Teresa, all these people keep on feeding into this philosophy.
Right. And
Yeah.
he taught us money's neither good nor bad. But the more money you have, the more money you can help. You can help more people with the money
Sure.
than you can when you don't have money. So, you know, he put together a class, formulated a class. It's called Kriya Shakti, and it's to help you be more prosperous and bring in money. Yeah.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Kriya Shakti.
Yeah.
I like the whole idea. Like, I like that money, I think that's what you do with your wealth that makes it good, right?
Right.
I like
But
that.
also, too, he showed us how those of us who are spiritual have many lifetimes as probably like a priest or a nun or whatever in some type of spiritual capacity. So we've taken on the belief and the program of have a poverty consciousness to it, right?
A poverty consciousness, yes.
Yeah, and so that stays in the soul, right? That information. And so they teach us, they give us tools on how to start getting rid of that energy, the poverty conscious energy that's stuck in the soul, that's in the soul.
That's interesting. So then so to go back, you did the classes, you started studying, and then when do you decide I'm going to start practicing on some, like, that's a big leap, right? Like, I can practice on you if we're in a class, but when am I going
Right.
to ask somebody to pay me, right? Because people have to pay, everybody, and nothing's,
Right.
you know, how am I going to ask this person, how am I confident enough to put hands on this person?
Right. It was gradual. In the beginning, I would do it for free. It was just helping people at work. You know, somebody had a really bad migraine. And I said, you want me to try and see if we can get rid of it? Yeah. In 2 sessions. So in the morning, it relieved it. And then at lunchtime, it was gone. Where she had to come in because we were putting some stuff. She was, she did numbers. Anyway, so she's had to crunch the numbers because we were going into market. And so she just was in a really bad way. And by lunch, she was like, oh my God, it's gone. I can't believe it. And somebody with a cold sore, the next day the cold sore was gone. Never came up because she would get big ones. Going into market, all the stress, this big thing coming out of her lip, took it out. So I was doing it for free. And then people started coming. And then it was, okay, I graduated to, if you want to give me money, give me money.
Donation based?
Yes. And then it was like, okay, I'll charge $40. Then it was $60. And then it gradually kept increasing.
How long is a typical session for somebody that comes in for some healing?
For me, with me, about an hour.
An hour?
Yeah, an hour.
Can I ask what they cost if somebody wants to book a healing session with you, or do you go per person depending on what they need?
No, I have a set rate now.
Okay.
And my rate is $160 for each session.
For an hour. Basically,
yes.
more or less. Okay.
Yeah. But like yesterday, I had a session with a lady who was 76, 77, and just a lot of stuff. Never had a session before. So there was just a lot of stuff to move. So it took 2 hours to do.
I don't know if you can say this, but what does a typical session involve?
I scan all the chakras. So we're looking, so somebody comes to me and says, I have migraines.
Do you lay them down on a table? Do you just look at them?
Right
Do you
now,
stand them
all
up?
sessions are on Zoom.
On Zoom?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's distantly. So I'm working with your energy. And if you came to me and in my studio, I wouldn't touch you either. Like, so I would be, 2-3 feet away from you. But I'm still dealing with your energy.
Yeah, I remember you didn't touch me.
Yeah.
You did mine, you didn't touch me.
And so we're just dealing with energy. So I can heal somebody. I have a lot of clients in Europe. So I deal with them over there. And it's the same thing. It works the same. So then I cut cords. So when we become corded to people, when we meet people, we attach energetically. And so we take all the cords out. I clean the aura, feel for the congestion in the body. So if somebody comes in for migraines, there's going to be a lot of congestion in the head, and then the chakras in the head, and then the solar plexus. So, Master Choa basically gave us recipes on how to heal people. If there's this, follow these steps, and this will alleviate or remove the condition.
And how many sessions? That depends on the person, right? Like how many sessions it would take.
It's contingent.
And is there like follow-up sessions, like an oil change session, like my car's okay, but here we go?
Like the majority of my clients come to me, they're depressed, anxiety, kind of the things that I experienced and that I went through. And so you don't take away all of that in just one session. It takes a while, right? And it's contingent upon if the person wants to change. Because a lot of people will come to me and just say, just take it away from me. Just get it out. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Well, that's nice. That's a nice sentiment. And I used to tell my therapist that all the time. I don't want to fucking deal with this anymore. Just take it out. Give me a pill. I want to be done with it. No, it doesn't work that way. So you have to change your body and you have to change your life. You're responsible for this.
You got to put in work.
Yeah. And, when you go to a trainer, you have to work at it. And not only on the day you're with the trainer, but the other days. And then you need to stop eating pizza and drinking Coke and all that stuff.
That's how we've had conversations about that. Like people will come to us too for readings and things like that. And then we'll tell them, okay, you need to do this. And they'll be like, okay, but you're 90%. Because if your mindset, I'm 10%, I'm the vessel leading you to, of course, I have more years in this, I can show you, but you have to put the energy into it. Because then what happens, like you said, people want a quick fix, like, no, fix me. Well, you have to help. You got to help out here. You got to change your mindset, your energy. Because if you're constantly negative, like, my shoulder hurts, you got to, okay, I'm healing my shoulder. My shoulder's feeling better. I'm going to open my chakras. I totally get that. That's interesting.
So let me ask you this. So somebody's listening right now and they're like, you know what? I could really benefit from some of this. pranic healing, some of this pranic healing, and then they say, let me go online, find myself a pranic healer, and what should they be looking for? I mean, well, they can come to you, obviously, but if they go online and they say, what am I looking for? What are the things to avoid? Because just like everything else, there's going to be some people out there that are probably not as ethical. You know, there's probably a lot of people that have the ability to create a website and with Photoshop now and the tools that we have available to us, you could make yourself look like anybody and anything. What should people look for when they're looking for somebody to visit or to trust?
Right. That's a great question. And well, first of all, most of the pranic healers that you will encounter will be pretty honest people, because Master Choa taught us, what you put out there is exactly what you're going to attract and what you're going to get back. So if you use this for bad, he's like, God bless you, because it's going to come back to you, but even more. So he's like, don't ever use any of this work for bad. Never. So kind of putting, there's a fear in there.
Sure.
But also just, there's integrity, and just everything he did was with such integrity, and it was always about helping people. And a lot of clients that I encounter have been duped, have been harmed by other healers.
A lot of bamboozlement with healers out there.
Right? And it's just, it blows my mind. It's just like, how can you do this to people? Like, wow, you are going to have some really bad karma. You better get ready for that, because it's just, and I think when you're working in the spiritual realm and you're doing this work and you do negative, evil stuff, and I don't like to use malicious. Right. I don't like to use evil. I don't throw that around. Anyway, so it's really bad. So anyway, a lot of people come to me and they told me this and they told me that, and I'm like, oh my God. And it just kind of makes them even worse. So I think one of the things, we all have is intuition. And so when that intuition goes off and says, and everybody feels it, everybody. And there's always that little tinge of, I don't like this, something's not right, this kind of feels off. But then the healer, or in quotes, will kick in and try to kind of get in front of that. And, oh no, don't worry about that. And, they'll explain it away.
If you're feeling uneasy, that's normal. That's the bad vibes leaving your body.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is perfect.
That's all the witchcraft people have done to you to avoid you being mean.
Yeah. That's the bad vibe. That's that they're trying to hold on to you, and they're making you afraid of me, and they want you to leave. Don't pay attention.
Yeah. I had this one client who was just really a mess, very fearful. And she had went to this lady who was a healer, again in quotes. But it just sounded more kind of like one of these palm readers types.
And you're shitting on palm readers, bro?
No, just the special ones.
So toxic, man.
Just the special ones.
Just the special ones.
And, just put a lot of fear in her. But also, when I was doing work on her, I felt spells she had been casting on her. And
that's the crazy, not to cut you off, but yeah, people will tell you, oh, you are blah, 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 and you got to keep coming back. It's like almost like this roping you in to coming back. The hook.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I had this other client who I had been seeing and doing work with, and she was drunk one day, and she went to a palm reader, one on, the storefront ones, and she called her up. And the woman started asking her questions, and this client was telling her some information. And so my client was just trying to gather, okay, is this going to work or not, And then the woman called her back, and she's like, oh, forget it. The woman called her back. She's like, you owe me $800. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, you owe me $800. We already started this process.
Oh, without you.
Yeah. And then the woman started stalking her and was like calling her constantly and was threatening to like cast spells on her. And I was like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
Well,
Right.
people do get scared and they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I got to come up with this dough. Otherwise, I'm going to have this curse on me.
I had somebody message me through our chat. I don't know if you guys know there's a big scam with Nigerian priests going on that say that they're babalaos religiously, like santeros.
What's that?
Babalao is the high priest in Santeria.
Okay.
So our religion does come from Africa, Nigeria, Laos, there's a Yoruba. So these people will message you, okay, and they'll tell you, I'm high priest, bim, bam, boom, and I saw that you need this, and I'm going to send it to you. I've had a bunch of people message me on my private Instagram because they'll see that I'm a santera. I'll put words in Yoruba, and I don't know how they do it, but they'll find me. So this girl sent me a message and she's like, I'm so scared. This guy says that he's cursing me, that I owe him $1,000. I was like, what happened? And she's like, well, he told me that he had dreamt with me. I'm like, he dreamt with you in Africa without knowing you? And she's like, yeah. I was like, what did he tell you? And she's like, that I had brown hair. And I'm like, and I'm looking at her pictures and her hair's like blonde. And I'm like, but you have blonde hair. And she's like, well, originally my hair was brown when I was born. So just totally scared her and then wanted $1,000 from her who's going to hex her and her next generation. I was like, dang, that guy like went to your kids.
But there's people that fall for that.
Yeah, she
Right.
messaged me
Yeah.
because she was really, really scared. She was genuine. Had I been someone else,
Yeah, you barely listen. I can fix
do
you,
you
but it's going
know
to cost
how
you $2,000.
easy it would have been to get her to come to my house, pass a chicken over her or whatever it is that we do, and I could have bamboozled her too. I told her, don't
Right.
send any more messages out. You're fine.
Okay, listen. He wants 1,000.
I'm gonna take 1,500 and I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah, just show. You can even underbid him. Just say, you know what? Show up with 900.
I
This
want
is
nine.
gonna be a
I
process.
want
$9.99.
$9.99, and it is a process. I want
Here's the
$9.99.
contract.
So
And we're going to need a few sessions.
there you go.
Yeah.
How often during your pranic healing do you feel the need to like tell them something like that spirit tells you, or is that something you try not to mix? Is there people who go to you
There-
just for spirit work?
Most of the time, I get messages to give to people.
Okay.
And that's when I started doing readings because spirit was always appearing. And especially their guides. And so they would say, they need to know this, they need to know that. Tell them this.
That's and I was gonna. That's my next thing that I was gonna ask you. You do the healing, but Thanya was also mentioning that you're a medium as well. How many different besides that, do you do tarot cards? Do you do this? Do you
No.
do that? Just so basically the
Do
healing.
you read palms? Because
No,
and
read palms?
no, I read feet. No.
we know
I
you got a
read
pedicure.
toenails.
There you go.
I cut
There
your
you
toenails
go.
and I read.
You're right. Put
But-
them in a T.
Now, but you do you what does being a medium is so like that definition is so broad, I feel. Because there's you see these old televangelists, like, oh, I see the Spirit of the Lord came on my shoulder and told me there's somebody here and your name starts with the letter blah blah blah. And that could be considered part of being a
Then they
medium
go through
as
the
well.
then they go
Yeah.
through the vowels. A, E,
Yeah.
I,
I think there was some people who there's truth to that, but a lot of them were using it to
Of course.
generate funds. Yeah.
To
You're so
generate
polite,
funds.
Michael. I swear, he's like, some people.
They were
They're
bamboozling
bullshitting,
people.
Michael.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
bullshitting. Stop.
Now, when you say that you're a medium, that means you can talk to people's ancestors, people that have passed on, people that are trying to communicate. What does that even mean in your world to say that you're a medium?
I talk to dead people.
Okay.
There you go. It's when they talk back that it gets scary, right? Like you're like, okay.
Yeah. So it's the loved ones that were in a physical body. They're now on the other side.
What do you
So-
use? You don't use cards. You don't use palms. Do you just do face to face?
Yeah,
energy?
just read. So
Okay.
what I do is I connect to people's guides because we all have guides. A lot of other modalities and religions call them angels too. So I think they're kind of one and the same. And I see them more as teachers, so I call them guides. And they'll come and they start talking. and they give information to the sitter, right? Tell them this, tell them this. And it's, for me, it's less about predicting the future, and it's more about what kind of work do you need to do to change this situation. Because a lot of time I get, does he love me? Is he?
You're not the only
right?
one.
Where's my man? When am I going to meet him? And it's kind of like, let's talk about why you're choosing bad men, and let's see if we can identify that. Let's see if we can change that so that you can start choosing correct men and help yourself.
You chose the asshole before you were born, didn't you know that? You
Exactly.
motherfucker. Nice.
Truth. Now you got to kick him.
But no, they're always very loving and very kind. The guides, always. They're never mean. Yeah.
It's never fear. It's
not fear-based.
That's so funny. I think that people who vibrate a little bit higher, because a lot of what you say resonates with me, because I say the same thing. Like, things should not be based in fear. You cannot. I get really angry when people use fear as the catalyst to supposedly your religion. Like in Santeria, people will go and they'll be like, you're going to die if you don't get these collares, these aleques, or if you don't do that. That's not, what are you doing? Nobody would say that. Right. I can tell you, you know what? You're at a stop in your life. You're blocked because, these things need to change. You're not going to die.
Right.
I'm not I don't have that power to tell you those things. Right.
Right.
But I think that people, one, love the shock factor, which is even more irritating and annoying. They want you to sit there. You're saying that you do readings just face to face. No, they want you to pull out a deck of cards,
a crystal ball,
and they want you to light your arm on fire.
Yeah.
And they want
they want you to pull out a crystal ball, have a Walter Mercado outfit.
Yeah, they want you to have your turban.
Yeah, people like the pageantry.
Yeah, they love the pageantry.
It's mystical. It's magical, right?
Right.
No, it does. It's not.
I feel like the people who I've met who are most mystical and magical come in the form of normal people, like all of us.
Wiki.
They come, if you see my mom, Michael knows my mom, like he's met my mom. If you see my mom, she's not wearing a turban, and she's not, and she will sit just like with you, and she'll be like, this.
But if she did, she could charge her double her prices.
She would never, though. She's so like, you have to have some kind of spiritual integrity. Like, you have to have integrity, or what are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah.
Back to the thing with channeling the spirit world. When we're talking spirit guides, are our spirit guides always relatives, people we met, people we know? Could they be people that we don't know? Could they be like a certain philosopher, a certain this, a certain that? That's now you've maybe studied them so much that now they're actually, their energy is there. Is that also within the realm of possibility, or is it just going to be your ancestors, your the people that were near and dear to your heart?
Could you be channeling Edgar Casey? Like, could you be channeling?
Oh, I'm not a channeler.
Or
I wish I could.
Could my spirit guide be
guided? Could you be guided by someone you never met?
So, what I've encountered in working with guides is the guides are not family. They're not ancestors. I refer to them as the tribe, right? So your parents,
so
your tias, your abuelos, that's the tribe. And the guides are spiritual beings. The majority of them, like 99%, have never walked the earth. Some have, and some have ascended, but the majority of them haven't. Their job is to help you. I don't know where they've come from. I need to start asking questions of them, but I don't know where they've come from. And so they're here to help us. So I've never channeled like Albert Einstein. I have channeled some or talked to some that says they have helped like famous people. So that energy also helped other famous people, right, in doing what they did. But the majority of the time they're just working with you sometimes they've been with you for several lifetimes.
They're like your spiritual handlers, kind
Yes.
of, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're teachers.
So it's completely separate from your ancestral tribe is kind of to that one way. And these are people who are just going to tell you how to get the best spiritual experience out of this lifetime or help you with that, right?
And be a better person. It's
like
helping to assist you in ascending, to be a better person, to be more spiritual, to stay connected, right? Because that's what it's really all about. Us being spiritual.
And that's what I was going to say next is that there are people who have, when you say the word spiritual, when you say the word higher vibration, higher frequency, to them it's like, you freaking hippie, like shut the fuck up, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a big portion of the population who's like, oh yeah, I'm tapped into this, I'm tapped into that. It's like, it's almost like who gets chosen to do that higher vibration or ascension? Is it a choice? Is it the guides picked you? Is it like this? There's people that have these, it happens in religion all the time where it's like, oh my God, I had this spiritual awakening. Oh my God, Jesus came to me and I was born again. Bless you. This happened and I saw this and I saw that. And there's other people that go an entire lifetime and it's like, fuck that. That shit's crazy. Who decides that? And is it a choice or is it preordained and we have no freaking say in it?
I think our soul chooses that, right? This is the decision we make each lifetime, right? What are we learning from this lifetime? And then they give you the contract and they say, you sign it. And then once you sign it, boop, down you go.
And then do you...
Yeah, I know. I'm blown away by that because sometimes I think, why would you sign up to be a serial killer? Like, what are you learning out of that, right? Because I'm fascinated with serial killers too. Yeah,
I just started watching the Cecil Hotel documentary.
Yeah,
and it's when you talk about going into a building and you said that you walked into that place where there was somebody in there doing some spells and whatnot, and you're like, how could you people live in here? That same energy that they're talking about in the Cecil Hotel with all the craziness that has happened there and all the death that has happened and the drugs and the this and the that, and it turns out Richard lived there, and he would take off his clothes.
How crazy is that?
In
that
the
no one
freaking
cared?
alley, and then he would walk in his underwear full of blood, walk up the stairs up to his freaking room, and he was home. He came home. This was his home. This is where he felt at home. That energy in that whole place is just gotta be insanity.
Plus, it's been there since the 30s, I think.
1929.
The 20s, right?
Yeah. Actually, 1919, and then in 24 it opened right before the Great Depression.
So imagine all the things that went down in that space. If houses keep energy, right? I think houses keep energy.
Absolutely.
So that place must be it's so crazy. If you go, this is like churches, right? I'm not religious, but I love churches, which is weird, I guess weird. But whenever I go to another country, especially in Ireland and Scotland, if you go into the churches, it's such a different feel than if you go to the churches here. Well, one, they have the cemetery right outside the front door in Europe, right? It's literally, you're at the church or in the cemetery. So when you go, you can feel the things that are still, for lack of a better term, haunting that place, right? The energy in that place. So I'm sure that hotel, I was just by there.
By the Cecil?
On Sunday. And it's closed now, right?
Oh, they closed it?
Well, they have it open to the homeless people who stay. I guess they pay the low rent, but it's closed for you to book a room or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's closed.
Isn't
they
it?
were bamboozling people.
Yeah,
Well,
the Stay on Main.
The Stay on Main, they closed it?
Yeah, they closed it.
As they should.
Yeah, they closed it. But there was a bunch of people outside, right? Taking pictures and trying to
this is number one documentary right now. It's the number one documentary.
I didn't go for that specifically. Really? I was just on that street.
So you're not alone in being fascinated by these people's lives. It's insanity.
I've always been fascinated with ghosts and hauntings and serial killers.
Do you get scared? Do you spook easily, do you think?
Not so much anymore. Before I used to. Oh my God, I'd feel something and it would be like, ah! literally running out of buildings. But now I'm always
because
like,
people think people who are mediums aren't scared, right? Like, oh, you
Yeah.
see dead people. I don't care. I spook really easily.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in
but,
there.
right. But now I know I have protectors and that watch over me. So every time I get scared, I'm like, oh, come, get that
I don't
thing
like it
away
here. I
from
don't
me.
like
Don't
it
let
here.
it touch me.
You said you went to do a cleansing on a home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. What if somebody called you, said, "Hey, man, we got this, 15-story hotel, and it's
Ooh.
just got a lot of shit going on here.
That's a lot.
Come clean this shit." Would you take that challenge on, or is it the same thing to clear out a hotel as it is to clear out a home? Is it the same type of
It's going to be more work.
powers? Do you need to
It's-
step up your
Well,
magic? Or
I think to do that work, number one, you have to have integrity. You have to be really connected. I mean, you just need to be connected to source to have that higher energy to clear out that lower negative vibration and energies in a space like that. And it takes work. It's really hard work.
Can it be
doesn't-
done?
Yeah, I'm sure it can. But I mean, 15 stories.
Maybe
I
that'll
mean,
take more
that's-
than one person.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Because
a
the
lot.
energy that you clear out, you also have to maintain in yourself. So it's hard to clean one person. Some people are like little vampires. They just suck your energy and then you feel
Right.
horrible.
I heard that that's not true.
What's
that
not
there's
true?
no energy vampires. That energy is limitless, and that no one person can take it away from you.
I don't think they take it away from you, but I think that you can spend more time trying to heal their energy, and you are tired. There is like physical, you feel it
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
physically. You're tired. Yesterday we did something at my house, and although it wasn't like clearing negative energy, it was a bunch of ceremonies. And by 6 o'clock, I was like, I'm exhausted. Like I went to sleep at 8. I have insomnia. I went to sleep at 8. I woke up at midnight and then I was awake again. But I was like exhausted at 6 o'clock. I was like, I'm so tired.
Right.
And it's the energy, the vibration, because you're constantly expelling good energy. So I do think energy is
Yeah.
limitless, but I do think that there's energy vampires.
I think vampire is not a great word for it.
people.
Right. I mean, because vampires are kind of creepy. But, people that are energy vampires are just a lower vibrating person. And their energy is a lot lower than yours. And so when they attach to you, they just start sucking that energy. And that's why a lot of them, too, are usually kind of hyper. They just, because they're expelling a lot of energy, too. And they just kind of suck your energy. And there are those people, and after you're done, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I need to not
you.
see you for about 6 months."
Well, it's been really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Go!
Yeah,
Now, besides being a healer, being a medium, is there any other spiritual practices that you are involved with?
just arhatic yoga. Yeah,
Arhatic yoga.
yeah.
I
So
wrote
that's
that
my
down 'cause I gotta
spiritual
check that out.
practice. Yeah, so that's everyday meditations that I do to help keep me connected. And,
Every day.
yeah, yep, yeah. It's involved.
That's
It's
That's a lot.
That's
Yeah.
I have a hard time. It took me a long time to learn to meditate. It's hard.
yeah.
It's
It's
hard.
not easy. Absolutely.
When you practice this, how long do you devote each day to your yoga?
Between an hour and a half.
Every day.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, middle of the day, night.
It depends. I'm trying to shift that. I'm trying to become the person who likes to wake up early at 5, and you're like, oh, this is nice, right?
Who's waking up at 5? Stop it.
That's not me at this moment, but I'm trying to shift that practice so I can get it all done in the morning and be connected right away for my day.
Well, that's,
Yeah. But sometimes, life happens, and then, all right, well, I have to
Go
do it
sleep
tonight.
at 5.
There you go.
Yeah. Like when I worked back east, I would do it at night. And and it was a way to kind of clear out all the stress from the day. So it helped me get to sleep.
Do you use tools to help you out, like sage, plants, herbs, crystals, stones?
I have crystals in the house, and I use
Do you incorporate them into
the
your healing?
herbs to cleanse. So the incense and sage and Palo Santo, all that to clean the energy out of the space. Yeah, that has to happen. And then I usually play chants from my teacher throughout the day. When I leave the home, I kind of turn it on and just let it play all day. Clean the space out, let it be blessed as well. So there's all different types of chants that you can play all day, and some bless the home, some clean it out. Yeah.
And your home does feel light.
Yeah.
Your home feels light, and it's really bright. Like,
Yeah.
it feels really light.
Like you were talking about churches. I love churches too. And I love to go into a church to meditate. And when I went to Europe a few years ago, that was one of the fun things I did with my friend, and we'd go to a church every day. We'd meditate and then go see what was, the area, visit the area.
I love church. I will on purpose. I will, even when I'm in Mexico and they're little towns, I'm like, take me to the church that people go to here. And you'd be surprised because like they have their own, I feel like, especially in Mexico, because we're brought up to be scared of everything. That's where I found things that are religious that they like sell in the little church stores that are like so beyond what the church I think would be okay with. Like I went to a church and they were selling salt, right? And I'm like, oh, what's the salt for? And the lady's like, cooking. And I was like, that's weird. And there was a little box next to it, okay? So she's kind of like looking at me like she doesn't want to talk to me. So my mom comes over and she's like, tell her what it's really for. And she's like, it's for exorcisms. You take this little box, you put the salt in it, you cover it, you put it in a room in your house where you feel there's bad energy. The box will seal and you'll never be able to open it. Wow. So of course I bought all of them, right? Because there was like 6. I'm like, give them all to me. And we took them home. We put them in different rooms. 3 of them wouldn't open.
Wow.
And the other ones would. I was like, oh, what?
And then what you do with the closed ones?
With the closed one, the lady said you just leave them there. You're not supposed to touch them, remove them. You just leave it there as a protection. So I was like, oh, it doesn't bother me. It's a little box, whatever. But I was like, that is so crazy, right?
Trap the chamuco in there?
It trapped the chamuco and his cousin because it was 3 of them.
What?
3 of them. I just want to say none of them were in my room.
What's a chamuco?
A chamuco is
It's a slang
it's
for...
a slang like a monster, like the boogeyman. The boogeyman. There you go.
The kukui.
The kukui. There you go. The kukui. The kukui.
The chamuco.
So are you busy right now? Like, do you feel like Martin had told me that right now we were talking about how there's like a spiritual renaissance going on, right? More people want to be spiritual. So do you feel like you've gotten busier?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Last year it was a little slow. I think everybody was just kind of gather their thoughts and their energy and like what the hell is going on. But this year more people are coming. Yeah. I've been super blessed.
Are you on social media?
Yes, I have Instagram and what else?
What's your Instagram handle?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Michael.
I know. Is that awful?
It's not Twin Serenity. It's not.
No.
Okay.
No, that's Melanie.
Let me see.
Okay. Yeah.
wait,
Because
here
he
it
had
is.
something.
Yeah, sorry.
Melanie.
I'm thinking of her.
It's MJ Espinoza.
MJ Espinoza.
And Espinoza con una zeta.
Una zeta.
One
There you
Z.
go, one
With a
Z.
Z.
What's your Facebook? Are you
My
still-
Facebook is Michael J Espinoza, Certified Pranic Healer.
Certified Pranic Healer. Do you have a website?
Michael J Espinoza.
Espinoza. But don't speak to him in Spanish. You're going to lose him.
Well,
10 words. 10 words.
I've already used my 10 words.
Do you,
Kukui, zeta.
Zeta.
and then also you have a podcast as well.
Yes, I do.
And what is the name
Thank
of your
you
podcast?
for asking. It's called The Psychic Funhouse.
The Psychic Funhouse.
I love that name. That's a good one.
And we're on, it's with me and a friend. His name is Lawrence Birch. And we work together. He's also a psychic doing readings at this store in Costa Mesa. It's called the Crystal Cave.
I know where that is.
Crystal
You know where that
Yeah,
is?
because my office is in Newport. So
Oh.
yeah, I know exactly where
So
that
what
is.
is the Crystal Cave? What is tell me about the Crystal Cave.
It's a spiritual shop where they sell crystals and
So like a
incense and-
botanica.
It's not so much a botanica.
No?
No.
This is more like the European version.
yeah.
He sells incense crystal. He sells tarot
And
decks.
books
He
and
sells
tarot
books.
decks.
It's
Yeah.
very new. What is it?
New age.
New age.
Yeah.
New age.
And so, yeah. And then they have readers working out of there. Yeah.
I like it.
But we're not there physically at the moment.
At the moment.
Yeah.
He's still closed.
No, he opened back up.
Okay.
But because the reading rooms, they're really
So
tiny.
small.
Yeah, they're literally closets.
What type of readings?
There's many different readings, psychic readings, mediumship readings, it's contingent on each
No
reader.
palms, no tarot, no.
I don't think there's palm readers there. Tarot, a lot of tarot.
A lot of tarot.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a palmer. I've been there.
No.
I think it was like tarot, energy, aura. I think there was somebody reading your aura.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I didn't know that was him. That's funny.
Yeah. So my friend and I met there, and so we have our podcast, and it's on blogtalkradio.com.
Blogtalkradio.com.
Oh, no. Oh, shit.
There
I feel
you
so
go.
bad. Oh, my God. Yeah, no,
Is it on iTunes?
It's
Is it
Blog
on
Talk
iTunes?
Radio.
Is it also available on iTunes and Spotify? and
Not
things?
yet.
Not yet.
We're going to be on there. We're
Okay.
going to push it through
Yeah.
really soon. And, so we're there every Friday night, 6 p.m.
Nice.
for an hour. Yeah. And so we do readings for people, but we also teach as well.
On
And
your
we-
podcast.
Mhm.
You do
And we-
readings on the live on the
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yeah, because it is live, so people can call in as well.
And ask you questions
And
too?
ask us. Yeah, so we do
I'm
readings.
going to call him Friday.
Please
Be like,
do.
who's your favorite Thanya? You'd be like, you. Okay.
Ooh.
do, do, do.
Do, do, do.
Well, dude, I think thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if you have anything else. You have anything else, Tanya?
Yeah.
No,
any other
thank you so
questions?
much.
Thank you guys for
Anything
having
you want to add to whatever? 'Cause I feel like we've just bombarded you with everything.
No, I think we kind of covered a lot in a short amount of time.
In a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
We're like a little bit over an hour.
Yeah.
Dude, you've taught me a lot.
thank
Things that
you.
I had that now I'm gonna go do homework and look up. I'm a rabbit holing person. Like I'll just go down a rabbit hole and then just start finding out all things, whatever that topic is. So prana, I'm gonna look up prana, which is the root word
Pranic healing.
for
and
pranic healing, but
yeah.
but the Sanskrit is prana.
Prana.
Correct?
Mhm.
And so I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look up the yoga that you were talking about, which
Arhatic yoga.
Arhatic yoga, which I had never heard of before. So I'm
It's
gonna
amazing.
check that
It's
out.
amazing. Like once you start practicing that, that's like, wow.
And you could probably go on YouTube and find that nowadays. Correct? No.
You have to become a pranic healer. You have to take the first 3 levels because you use the modality to heal
So
yourself.
you got prerequisites.
Yeah. So you use the modality to heal yourself when you're doing this work.
Well, here I am trying to go into Yoga
Right?
101 when I need to take
Martin was ready. He was like, I'm there.
Hey, you monkey, you need prerequisites.
Michael's like,
you can't
"No,
just
you're
come
not."
into Yoga 101, you fuck. You gotta start over here.
Well, the old me was always very skeptical, and it was like, oh, of course they want you to take the
Sure.
first 3 classes.
Yeah.
They just want your money. That's
Yeah.
all they want. But
Yeah.
now, I know. It's like, no.
These are the tools
Because
You
you
need a
need.
base.
need these tools to heal yourself.
I want to write an essay without knowing the vowels or the alphabet.
There you go.
I want
Can
the
I just
clip
write
notes.
this essay? Jesus Christ.
I want the clip. This is like Martin's. This is Martin's MO. I want a limpia. You do limpias. Give me a limpia. I want it now. I'm like, okay.
Limpia me, lady.
I'm like, it doesn't work that way. He's like, get the egg and do it now. Who would bring me the egg? Bring me the egg. I'm like, no.
Really?
I think it's like, well, what the hell? This is what you do, right? Do it. Like, what are you talking about? You got to do
Well,
this.
why can't you do Olympia?
I can do a limpia. I can do it. You and him both. I can do a limpia, but we don't do generalized limpias. Like we don't think it's one size fits all. So we require that you get a reading. So that I know what your energy is telling us and what you need me to heal. Because like you said, maybe he comes to me, he's like, oh, my elbow hurts. It's not your elbow. It's, your thought process or it's
Right.
your, so we do a reading and then we will tell you, you need this, you need that. But in the beginning, it was very, you do limpias, give me a limpia. I'm like,
I was like, I checked out your site. I checked out your
people
page.
come to me and just say, I want a healing. So I just start doing the healing, but then I get information.
while you're healing, right?
Yeah.
Like so we do it. We have you get a reading because we practice. Our practices aren't just mediumship based. They have to do with like readings and how we're taught to read people with the crowley shells. And then depending on that, we'll tell you, okay, you need a limpia with fruit, or you need an energy limpia, or you need, but yeah.
Okay. So do you do limpias, Martin?
I limpia myself. No,
He's like, I like it. I do it all the time.
I do like to cleanse the area with. I'll use a lot of sage and Palo Santo as well. So I do that to just clear out different. I don't know what I'm doing. I instinctively do things. I just started on this path in the last few years. I was very anti anything because I had such a bad experience with organized religion that I almost associated it with spirituality as one and the same. And so I kind of like shut it all off and kind of shit on it for a long time. And then in the last few years, it's become more of a, when doors just start opening up and you're like, just start going in this direction. And then the more you go in there, the more that it's just like, whoa. I feel like that's where I'm at right now. I'm on this journey of spiritual growth, and I feel like I'm in an infant stage of it, but I feel like I've been bombarded with a lot of information, and it just makes me more curious.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it feels like you're on a, can I give you information?
Sure.
It's like kind of like a reading.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Let's go.
With all your listeners?
Hey. I'm okay.
No, it feels like you're kind of in a shifting phase right now. Things are shifting a lot for you, but it's not just spiritual. It feels also kind of professionally as well. It feels like you're going to shift into different areas. There's an expansion happening with you right now. And your grandmother, she's very talkative, and she's was saying that she's happy you're connecting to the spirituality again. So I guess, she was viewing the religion the same or similar to the spirituality, but she's kind of glad you're back to this, that it's making her happy as well. And she's also showing me that your energy is a lot like hers was when she was down here on this earth. And she likes that you're lively. Right?
My grandmother was the life of every party. My grandmother she had diabetes and had an amputation. I have a picture of her in a wheelchair where she's got a cigarette on one hand and a beer on the other. Like she just never and just laughing, she would always laugh and things.
But I want to tell you that you're very clear because you don't know Martin, and these are things that are just like being, like they're resonating again because Martin has gotten readings with us, and we've even been on the phone, him and I by ourselves, and I've told him, I feel this. And what you just told him is so similar to what I just told him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so you guys have been conspiring.
You're very...
Well, she's been sending me
I've been sending
emails and texts.
I'm like, do this, do that. I wanted, for the conspiracy theorists, I hadn't seen Michael. How long had it been since I seen years, right?
Years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Years.
No. Yeah, you're absolutely right on.
And it feels also, too, like you're going to kind of break out onto the public arena. Feels like you're being pushed into that space, and people are really going to recognize you more in the general public.
I like it.
Hold on. Uh-oh. Hold on. Ho-dee-do.
I'm like, I like it.
So I see you on stage a lot. They're showing me you on a stage, but it feels like the stage is going from a small place now into a bigger space. So your stages are going to get bigger. the audience is going to get a lot bigger. Yeah. What's with the motorcycle? Do you ride motorcycles?
I don't.
With a chopper?
I always been wanted to, but I've always been afraid of them.
That's interesting because the image I'm getting is like you coming out onto the stage on a chopper.
Wow.
Yeah. And then like getting off, that's kind of like, I don't know, your thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm fascinated by them.
Yeah.
Like I almost went and took a class recently, to be honest. I don't know how to ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
I
think
literally
they're
almost
coming.
signed up for a class not even a month ago.
Okay. Well,
That's
I think it's coming.
a trip.
I hate Jerry's
Yeah.
motorcycle. You can take it and ride it and wreck it if you want. My husband's motorcycle. Test yourself on that one. Go ahead. Yeah, I can't stand the motorcycle.
Hold on. I'm getting more info. So one of your guides is he says he works with you and he's kind of like your agent.
One of my guides,
Mm-hmm.
who's passed on, obviously.
No, that's tribe.
Okay.
This is on the
This is
angelic realm.
Like your handler, one of your
Okay.
handlers.
Yeah, we all have many guides, but this one he presents himself and he wants you to know he's like your manager, and so he helps you with your career.
Interesting.
He says that at times you're too hard-headed, and you don't listen, and you're not.
Okay, that's enough.
And he says that right there is the cause of a lot of problems. And he says you need to learn how to start being more malleable and to listen to people and to stop being so quick to react.
Malleable.
He says this is one of your downfalls. He says you're just like a match to some gasoline. And he says you really need to learn how to start mastering your emotions. He says they're not always nice, and it's just not a good thing sometimes.
Wow.
And so he says once you start doing that, it's going to be easier for you to find that place, to continue down that road a lot faster to where you want to get to. Because he sees, and he's showing me that you're trying to get to this place, and it feels like it's in your career, but you're finding it difficult to get there. It feels like it's a struggle, and he says it's because of this energy that you think is cute. And he's like, it's not.
He said you think it's cute. I love
I'm
you,
sorry.
Michael. You're so funny.
Wow.
So it's not cute no more.
Yeah, no. That's absolutely
Sorry.
100% true.
Yeah.
I do tend to just kind of like explode on things, and it's like, unfortunately, it's a curse.
Hold on. Is it kind of you showing your passion for something?
That,
Okay.
but
so
it's
he says you can show your passion, but without that explosive energy. You need to find a different way of communicating that.
that makes a lot of sense. And I think I've been blessed and cursed with fuck it a lot, like it's very fuck it, and that's pretty, that's not good. And I realize that.
He says that's your pride. And he said, stop it.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's a blessing and a curse because sometimes you do need some of that in your life. There's some things that you do have to say fuck it to. You can't be bothered with certain things or stressed by certain things.
Yeah.
But you also have to pay attention to things, and it's not always fuck
And
it.
he says you use it too often.
Oh,
He is correct.
oh yeah.
Man, I'm really happy it was you on the hot seat. I'm like, we're sweating. No.
Yeah, no, that's extremely that's a lot.
No,
that's very
and
accurate.
he just said he wanted to introduce himself to you, and he wanted you to know he is working with you, and he's trying to help you get there. And he's like, you needed to know this. He's like, you needed to hear this so that you can get there. He's trying to help you, but You're getting in the way of yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
And once you pull it down, lower the energy, have more command of it, he's like, you're going to really go far really quickly.
Well, on that note,
there you go.
There you go.
You sir are.
You're going to be famoso. That's your
10th word. You're done.
You sir are an inspiration in a lot of ways,
you.
and the fact that you overcame a lot of adversity. Again, I remember the 80s, and I was a teenager then, and I do remember, I was a heavy metal person, and I was associated with being a devil worshiper, and I know how the gay community was treated at that time, and it was just shitty on all kinds of levels, especially with during the AIDS epidemic and when that broke out. And to see you talk about it in such a, not an angry way, because it would be justified to just be like these but just your demeanor and your freaking, just your whole persona, dude. It's so chill.
Trust me, the anger's there.
And you've had it. But you've toned it. You've toned it, and you work with it, and you wear it well, and you have command of your space, and that's fantastic. I'm a big fan of that.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thanya.
I love seeing you, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Share it. Leave us a comment, leave us a message, tell us what you liked. Hit up Michael. His website is michaeljespinoza.com, and he's also MJ Espinoza on Instagram. His podcast is the Psychic Funhouse. How do I forget that? The Psychic Funhouse. I want to go to the Psychic Funhouse. That should be a place. Like the Psychic Funhouse. Yeah.
That's what we envisioned.
Yeah,
it's a place
beautiful
to go to.
Yeah. It's
Have
fantastic.
I like it. I'm going to listen to it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.